Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wahoos Weekly, your weekly in-depth look at the Pensacola Blue Wahoos both on and off the field. With Charlie Hobart, I'm Eric Bramer. And Charlie, we've only got a couple weeks left in the regular season, but the way the Blue Wahoos are playing, we might very well have playoff baseball back in Pensacola.
Pensacola is really hitting their stride at the right time. This is when you want to be playing your best baseball, and especially in a playoff format like AA has. You just got to win 2 3 game series. You don't need to extend those winning ways much further beyond the regular season. So the fact that Pensacola really is hitting a groove right now, it couldn't time out any better.
This week, the Blue Wahoos are in the midst of a road trip, their last road trip of the regular season, but it's also a 2-week-long road trip. This week against Montgomery, next week against Columbus. Those are the two teams that are chasing the Blue Wahoos in that hunt for the second half playoff spot. As much as we feel good about things right now, at the end of this road trip, we're really going to have a much better idea of where the Wahoos stand and what they'll need to do going into that final week at home.
100%, and that's why Pensacola, I feel like we've been saying it all year because of the nature of how the South Division, but also the Southern League as a whole has been. Everybody's been around that 500 mark and a few games over and a few games under, and we've been saying if you can go on one winning streak, if you can rattle off 6 7 wins in a row, you're going to put yourself in a really good spot because you're going to have created some distance. And with the Wahoos going into Biloxi, winning 6 of 6 for the first time in 3 years, then it makes these series against Columbus, against Montgomery, yes, these are still very important series, and you have not run away with anything, but you did the work beforehand to put some distance between you and those two teams. So now, I don't want to say the pressure's off per se, but you have more room to work with. There's a little more wiggle room for the Wahoos.
It's not just that the Wahoos swept their series in Biloxi a couple weeks ago. It was more how they swept. I mean, dominant offense with contributions from a bunch of guys coming off the injured list. It seems like things are coalescing at exactly the right time.
Well, yeah, and a lot of that has to do with, like you said, the injured list, getting these big, heavy hitters back. Iva Arquette, Dylan Lewis, Fenwick Trimble. I mean, these were top contributors on this team. Iva had more of a limited sample size than Lewis and Trimble, but Dylan Lewis was in the top 3 in home runs when he went on the injured list. Fenwick Trimble might be the most well-rounded player on this team. And in 9 games, you put up 83 runs. That's going to work out pretty well no matter how your pitching staff is looking. And it just so happens that the pitching staff at the same time is also looking pretty darn good.
Pitching staff looking good, and they're also aided by the return of catcher Ryan Ignafo. Connor Cascanet has been a great offensive catcher, filling in for Ryan when he had some concussion problems, taking a ball off the helmet. But having Ryan back behind the plate to control the running game, especially in this year, in this Southern League with the experimental rules that are intended to incentivize base running, I think that's a big difference to have Ryan Ignafo behind him.
Yeah, it's kind of, only know you love her when you let her go kind of situation. And of course, we always loved Ryan Ignafo, but Connor Cascanet really, really did struggle behind the plate in controlling the running game. I think runners were 29 for their first 29 in stolen bases at the beginning of August. It's hard, obviously it's hard, and especially in a stolen base heavy league, like you mentioned, against teams like Montgomery who steal a ton of bags. There's got to be a limit to it. They can't just run wild all the time, and a pitcher can only do so much to keep those runners close. We've seen Luis Palacios do a great job with that. But if you are not throwing out runners from time to time behind home plate, you're at a huge disadvantage.
Fitting that we're talking about it this week here facing the Montgomery Biscuits, because at this point in the season, it's the Blue Wahoos and the Biscuits contending essentially for the league leadership in both home runs and stolen bases. Those are two very different skill sets, but I think it's telling that these two teams are 1 and 2 because those are the types of things that smart teams are trying to maximize. Major League affiliate, the Rays, they've got a reputation for being a pretty smart, well-run organization, and the Marlins have brought over some Rays people in recent years. Those two teams trying to craft themselves in similar ways, and it's making for a pretty exciting brand of baseball.
Well, why do you think people like Ricky Henderson were so popular? Why do you think they're Hall of Famers? They did both to the highest level that they possibly could. And it says 2 things about your team. One, do we need to talk about home runs to a great extent? That's what every team wants. That's the big thing. You hit homers, you got to pass to the show. Wahoos are hitting a ton of home runs. Dylan Lewis, part of that. Brandon Compton, part of that. When he was here, Cam Canarella. They've had a great heaping spoonful of contributors in the home run department. And the stolen bases are great, but what do you have to do to steal bases? You have to get on base And the Wahoos have shown by stealing those bags, we know how to get on base beforehand. So it's the five-tool thing. You got to hit for power, but you got to hit for contact. You got to draw walks, and they have guys who have very good understandings of the strike zone. Adrian Santana, just over from the Tampa Bay organization, he has a great understanding of the strike zone. And then Brandon Compton, who hits bombs. We all know that, but he doesn't chase a ton either. So these guys finding different ways to get on base and contribute leads to all those things.
One guy that we are unfortunately speaking of now in the past tense was the team leader in stolen bases, Brendan Jones. He was a guest here on Wahoos Weekly just a couple weeks ago, and he earned a well-deserved call-up to AAA Jacksonville. Now that we have perhaps ended the Brendan Jones era here in Pensacola, what a dynamic player. It's understandable now in hindsight why the Marlins targeted him in the offseason trade with the Yankees.
You could see it from night one. He came on the scene on opening night, 3-hit game, and then first week he hit a home run at his shoulders. Like, he's a gamer. I mean, he really is the truest sense of a baseball player, you know? He does everything right, and he does the little things right. Having Jonesy on this team, I mean, again, you can see why Bendix was looking at him, and you can see the contributions he can make to a club. And notably, on the bases, he had 35 stolen bases by the time he got his call-up. I mean, I think it was high time.
Yeah, pretty much at the deadline, we saw Brendan Jones go up to fill a need at AAA, and then we saw the arrival of two guys who were planning to be Montgomery Biscuits. They were told the Sunday before the trade deadline that they were headed from High A Bowling Green to AA Montgomery. Monday, the trade deadline, they found out instead, actually, while you're packed, you're getting traded over to the Marlins organization, and you'll be heading to Pensacola. Jacob Kisting, this week's guest on Wahoos Weekly, and Adrian Santana, both have provided an instant impact since joining the club.
I mean, 100%, and they're doing it on both sides of the ball naturally. Kisting is a starting pitcher, which we all know the Wahoos and every baseball team could use, and then Adrian Santana is a multi-talented, multifaceted leadoff hitter. Switch hitter always helps, and what I've seen from Adrian, which is huge, I mentioned earlier his understanding of the strike zone, but his ability to go the other way, his ability to understand his makeup, his gameplay. You don't see him big uppercut, swing for the fences. You see him go out. He pokes the ball. He goes the other way. He tries to go back up the box. His approach is big league, and you're going to have your struggles when you jump levels, and Santana has managed his very well. And you can see the raw tools are there. And then Jacob Kisting, I mean, he's a big guy. He reminds me a little bit as a Brewer fan of Brandon Woodruff. He's not this big, throw it 96, 97 down the, here it is, hit it, but he's got really good movement on his stuff. He commands the strike zone like nobody else I've seen, and he pitches to contact while getting strikeouts. He finds different ways to do it without the big velocity.
Brandon Woodruff is a pretty good comp. He pitched in the Southern League for the Biloxi Shuckers, and if the Marlins get a Brandon Woodruff-like career out of Jacob Kisting, I think they'd be pretty happy. Going back to Adrian Santana just for a moment, to say nothing of the additional infielders that the Wahoos have on the roster who have at times contributed to this club. Right now, there are 4 quote-unquote prospects at second, short, and third for 3 spots. It's a good problem to have, but it also creates some lineup confusion just in terms of not having an everyday shortstop, an everyday third baseman. It's been something that manager Nelson Prada has had to navigate here down the stretch, and it will create some interesting lineup construction here as the Wahoos try and push for that playoff spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best problem to have. It's the problem every manager wants. Because you don't want to take any of these guys out of the lineup. I mean, Adrian Santana, we've been talking about, he just got here. But Christian Hernandez had a huge month of July. He's come into his power stroke a little bit. You've seen his defense improve. Santana is a plus-plus defender. Juan Matthews has been maybe the most consistent bat in the second half. You can't take him out of the lineup. And then Ivor Arquette's the number 2 prospect for the Miami Marlins. You got a lot on your hands, but again, that's the kind of thing you want, especially going into playoff baseball. So I think Nelson Prada, he'll take it.
This week marks the final matchup between the Blue Wahoos and the Biscuits. And if the Blue Wahoos are going to make the playoffs this year, it will necessarily be at the expense of the Biscuits, who have made the playoffs every year for a decade. Looking forward to an exciting weekend of baseball on the road in Montgomery, and also looking forward to Charlie's conversation with Jacob Kisting, our special guest on Wahoos Weekly this week, coming up after this.
At A1 Automotive, we do it all kinds of repairs for all kinds of vehicles. We do AC repairs, we do suspensions, we do pre-purchase inspections. We'll diagnose your problem and get it fixed. free brake inspection. We can provide financing for any work we do. Veteran-owned, military, and first responders discounts. A1 Automotive, 403 Beverly Parkway, Pensacola.
Gill Marine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gill Marine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
I'm Dr. Derek Jones, a double board certified ENT and facial plastic surgeon.
And I'm Andrea Housen, practice coordinator for Dr. Jones.
Join us every third Tuesday at 8 p.m. as we explore today's most popular facial rejuvenation and cosmetic procedures.
We'll discuss both surgical and non-surgical options, answer common questions, and help you understand what treatments may be right for you.
You'll see real results from patients.
Plus, we'll keep you updated on our offices and where you can meet us in the community.
Nestled in the heart of Pensacola, Dorothy's is a one-of-a-kind, community-driven cocktail bar by Oasis, Florida, created to sustain vital HIV and STI care across the Florida Panhandle. Inspired by the Wizard of Oz, rooted in inclusion, and dripping with character, Dorothy's is a welcoming space with award-winning Oz-inspired cocktails, food by Steel Pony Diner, and an unmatched atmosphere. Join us 7 days a week in downtown Pensacola, located directly across from Maritime Park and the Blue Wahoos Stadium.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wahoos Weekly, where this week I'm sitting down, not Eric this time, it's me, and I'm sitting down with new Wahoos starting pitcher Jacob Kisting. Jacob, welcome man, how you doing?
Thank you, doing very well, glad to be here, thank you very much.
Well, first off, I just want to ask, what's been your impression of Pensacola? I mean, you've been around the block a few times in terms of minor league baseball, and now you're here in Pensacola, Florida. What's it been like for you?
I loved it. The travel down here, the travel day was a bit nuts, but once we got down here, kind of got our feet under us and got settled. It's been incredible. I love the ballpark area and the little downtown area. It's absolutely gorgeous. So spending some time down there with some new teammates and some old teammates who I played with back in the Twins organization. Kind of getting the lay of the land, but no, things are going great. I love it.
So naturally, you came over earlier in the month, earlier in August, from the Tampa Bay Rays organization, but that's not the first time you were traded. You've been in professional baseball for 2 seasons now. You've already gone through 2 trades. I mean, what was that initial trade experience like for you? Because, I mean, you just made a big move to a new city, and then you get called up, you got a new move, then you're getting traded. I mean, that's a lot of movement for your first year in professional ball.
Yeah, so originally the first trade happened in the offseason. I was drafted by the Twins in 24, traded to the Tampa Bay Rays in the offseason after 25 in November. Played, not even quite a full season with the Rays over in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and then got traded at the deadline this year. So a lot of moving pieces. If you would have told me this is how, my first few years in professional baseball would have went, I would have told you you're nuts. But no, it's been a blast, and I think it's been a great opportunity to get to meet a whole bunch of incredible people, make some really great relationships, not just with the players but with the staff too. Baseball's a small world, so the bigger that you can make your network, the better off things will be. So no, things have been great.
Was there anything that you picked up from that first experience being traded that you didn't know before being traded the first time that you could kind of apply to this situation?
I think the two were, categorically different. One was, in the off season, so I was at home when I got traded. Nothing had really changed for me that day or even that week or month. Kind of just went about my off season business. And then this one, obviously in the middle of a season, on and off day, traveling right away, so things had changed the next day. In terms of things to pick up, obviously, when I got that phone call the second time, I knew why they were calling because I'd had the phone call before. But outside of that, honestly, I think they've been very, very different experiences, just being at two completely different parts of the year.
You did come over, not just you came over with former and current teammate Adrian Santana. You came over with Braden Taylor in the deal. Does that kind of soften the blow a little bit? Also, you were moving, technically, because you were in High A when the trade occurs, you're about to move up to Double A Montgomery, and then you say you're still moving to Double A, but you're moving across the dugout because the Wahoos were playing a series against Montgomery. Was it nice coming over with a teammate and then playing immediately against guys you were just playing with?
Yeah, I think Santana and I talked about that on the drive up, was how nice it was that it was the both of us, not just one of us. I think that makes not only, the transition into a new clubhouse, a new team, organization, but something as simple as the travel. I mean, that first night we stopped and got a hotel somewhere in Alabama, and we just shared a room together, just because it was what was simple. But I think that helped, like you said, soften the blow a lot. And then from a team perspective, playing the Biscuits the first week was really cool because a lot of those guys on that team were in Bowling Green with me, weeks, months prior. So getting to see them again, throughout the week, getting breakfast with them before the games, and then obviously I threw on that Saturday, so pitching against them was a pretty unique experience and pretty surreal.
Well, you grew up in the Midwest. You grew up a Wisconsinite. We were talking a ton before the shooting actually took place, the recording. And then you end up going to school in Illinois at Bradley. What was the decision like that? What was behind the decision to go there out of high school?
Yeah, so Bradley was my only Division I offer out of high school. So they were pretty much at the top of my list of this is your opportunity to play, some really good competition of baseball, and it's something you should take. Forever grateful for Andrew Werner and Elvis Dominguez, pitching coach and head coach at the time, for giving me the opportunity to play there. Absolute blessing, and that kind of kick-started, the opportunity for me to play professionally and hopefully, for a lot longer in a career. But no, I wouldn't change it for the world. Place was an incredible 3 years. College roommates of mine that are going to be in my wedding, this off season. So met some incredible people. Absolutely would not change that experience for the world.
At what point, because obviously you pitch in high school and you're kind of a dog in high school, when do things become, okay, I'm not just a high school player, I actually have a chance to maybe turn this into a professional career?
Yeah, I think in terms of a professional career, I don't think that happened for me until probably my junior year of college. My freshman year of college, I had a decent season, but we were plagued with injuries. So I showed up, and originally I didn't think I was going to pitch much. Unfortunately, had a lot of injuries come up, and I was fortunate enough to step into a Friday night role pretty early on in my college career, my freshman year, and kind of ran with it, ever since then. But again, I don't really think the professional side of things became, more of a reality for me until my junior year. Yeah. I was a late round pick. I was a day 3 pick when the draft was 3 days. So when that day came around, we were just open for a shot, and very, very grateful, very blessed to be able to have that shot.
As that draft approaches, it's probably in the back of your mind. Are you thinking, well, I just hope it's 3rd round? Are you hoping, I just hope I get drafted at all? What's the mindset like that?
Yeah. Well, so it's funny. My agent, who had told me, whatever you do, don't watch the draft. Go do something else. Turn on your phone. Keep your phone on, but go play golf. Go to the lake. Go do something else. And I was drafted 400. I was the 428th pick, and I watched every pick in front of it. And that was probably not the smartest decision. But no, really, it came down to we're just hoping for a shot. Extremely grateful for the Minnesota Twins for giving me an opportunity there. Wherever I end up in my baseball career, I can always track it back to them. So very grateful.
You are drafted by Minnesota, and then you make your first professional outing, and it's kind of rough. You go 1 inning, you enter with a lead, and you end up giving up 4 runs in the 1 inning. I mean, do you remember that day? Do you remember the emotions you felt before you went in, knowing you're going in, and then post-game? Because, God, I can't imagine what your emotions were like.
Yeah, I did not know that I was going in just because I was coming out of the bullpen. Absolutely remember that day. That was about as sped up as I've ever been. Lights got way too bright on me. But I think that opportunity to pitch in that situation, it was low stakes in the moment, right? It's the first game of a low A season. But it was a great learning experience. It really got me in a situation where, okay, every time you toe the rubber, you get to decide, what the situation is, whether it's, bottom of the ninth in a 1-run ball game, or you're up 50 in throwaway innings in the fifth, or whatever it is. So I think I took that experience and kind of moved into, the game is what you decide it to be. So I think that really taught me that mentality moving forward.
That can be hard to learn and really implement. Who in your life, whether it's, a parent, one of your sisters, a coach, like who helped you kind of cultivate a strong pitcher's mentality?
Yeah, that was definitely my parents, my mom and my dad. My mom was an all-state softball pitcher in high school.
Okay.
And my dad played 3 sports in high school, and he's been my coach, ever since I was young. And I'd say he's been the best mental coach I've ever had. I mean, so he's a cancer survivor. So if he can teach you nothing else, it's perspective. So every single day he walks me through, okay, in a daily setting, how whatever happens during your day, you get to decide how you respond to it. So you apply that to a baseball setting. It's just a game, whatever the situation is, no matter how high stakes everybody else gets to make it, when you toe the rubber, it's your game. You get to decide, how elevated you want to be in your emotions, or how calm you want to be. And he always tells me never ride the roller coaster. Always just stay level-headed throughout all of it. So I can definitely track that back to both of my parents.
You mentioned your dad was a 3-sport athlete in high school. You also played multiple sports in high school, a little bit of football, a little bit of basketball. I mean, did you have fun playing hoops and football? Did it help you as a baseball player?
Oh, 100%. I think playing as many sports and getting as many opportunities to play something different than baseball. If you are a baseball player, you say you are a baseball player. It gives you so many different avenues to improve your athleticism, to not only get better as an athlete, but it protects burnout. You see a lot of young players that start baseball at such a young age and they only play baseball going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the fact that I got to change a sport every season really gave me an opportunity to say, you know what, I get to call myself an athlete here. So if I do get to play baseball down the road, as an only sport, I get to kind of hone in on it then. But right now, I get to be a kid. I get to play everything I want. So.
Well, I'd be remiss if we didn't touch on a little bit of Brewers baseball. You and I both grew up Brewers fans, and as you're growing up, was there anyone, it can be anyone in MLB, but was there anyone that you watched on the mound and you said, I want to emulate that guy, I want to pitch like him?
Yeah, at the time it was Zach Greinke when he was with the Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that he's one of the greats when it comes to Brewers pitching. Just being able to control the strike zone. I change speeds and control the strike zone. I think that he did that incredibly well, and that was something I grew up watching. Outside of Brewers baseball, I think my favorite pitcher was Tim Lincecum growing up, was getting to watch that guy, which hard not to be a big fan about that guy, but he was definitely my favorite growing up.
Well, now you're with the Blue Wahoos, and I got to say you're off to a pretty darn good start in your first couple of starts. One thing that pitchers have to do that position players don't quite have to go through is you got to get on the same page as your pitching coach and your catcher, or catchers, plural. How has that been building those relationships with guys like Cascadet, Ignacio, Nestor Rios, and Toby Nagel?
Yeah, so the 3 catches we have, it was an immediate, as soon as I showed up, I'm like, okay, these guys can play. Like this is a different level of baseball. These guys can play. I've only thrown to Cascadet so far. I'm sure I hope to get an opportunity to throw to the other 2 here pretty shortly, but it was a seamless transition. They are the controllers of the game. They are the field generals. They all 3 of them do an incredible job. So it was a very, very quick transition there.
Well, that first week you joined the Wahoos, you put together a nice start, but that was also one of the crazier weeks in the Wahoos season that comeback with Jay Bashir hitting 2 home runs. I mean, to add on to kind of an already hectic week, what was it like joining a team and then immediately being part of the game of the year?
That was pretty exciting. It's not every day you get to be a part of a game like that or a situation like that. Bittersweet to do it against your old teammates and old friends, but no, it was an absolute blast to be able to experience that with all these guys.
Well, now we're coming down the stretch. August into September, the leaves are starting to change somewhere anyway. How are you feeling about the idea of getting playoff time and getting a playoff start? I mean, does that kind of rev your engine a little bit?
That gets me fired up. I'm really excited for the playoffs here. If obviously we got to finish out this season first here and give ourselves a shot, but if we are getting the opportunity to play in the playoffs, I'm so excited getting an opportunity to play. It's gonna be great.
I want to know who hammered home. I know you talked about Zach Greinke, and I was talking to Eric earlier. I kind of had a Brandon Woodruff kind of comparison for you. You're a big guy. You're not throwing 96, 97, but you have a good fastball and you command the strike zone. At what point was someone like you, this is the most important thing for you, is knowing where to put the ball and how to put it there?
I think from a very young age, and I think that came from my dad as well, was no matter what, from a young age, we weren't gonna be overthrowers. We were gonna learn how to pitch first. Learn a changeup, spot your fastball. Breaking ball stuff will come later as you grow and kind of mature into the game. But I think at the end of the day, that is really what it comes down to: is pitching is pitching. We're always chasing velocity. We're chasing stuff. We're chasing the nastiest stuff, and that will always be a part of the game. But at the end of the day, if you can't put it over the imaginary box, it's going to be really tough for you.
Jacob, thanks so much for joining us, man. You're having a great season. I can't wait to see you pitch a little bit in mid-September.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been Wahoos Weekly on Blab TV.